of the Wayne County Commission to order. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Anderson,
Here.
Commissioner Basham,
Here.
Commissioner Baydoun,
Here.
Commissioner Clark Coleman,
Here.
Commissioner Daub,
Here.
Commissioner Hayes,
Present.
Commissioner Killeen,
Here.
Commissioner Knizik,
Here.
Commissioner Marecki,
Here.
Commissioner Baker McCormick,
Here.
Commissioner Scott,
Present.
Commissioner Varga,
Present.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Ware,
Present.
Vice Chair Palomero,
Here.
Chair Bell,
Here.
you have a quorum present.
Thank you so much. Next item, please.
Invocation,
Thank you. Our invocation will be given today by Commissioner Anderson. And if all commissioners at this point could mute your phones so we can have as quiet as possible for our invocation. If all commissioners can please mute their phone except for Commissioner Anderson. Commissioner Anderson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would ask that we bow our heads and let us pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for another beautiful day in which we're able to gather virtually to do our work on behalf of the citizens of Wayne County. We've seen a lot of turmoil in the last few weeks, but we pray that our state and nation will eventually be better for it. Help us as we strive to become a better state and nation, that more completely embodies what our founding fathers envisioned, including just for words, just for all, justice for all. We mourn and send our prayers to those that have died unjustly, as well as for their families. We pray and thank those who peacefully protested in the hope to bring change on behalf of those who have been wronged in the past. We pray for those who are charged with the responsibility to keep us safe at a time when our first responders have been tarnished by the few who committed terrible atrocities upon a few of our fellow citizens. We need them to keep our community safe and ask you to guide them as they do their jobs. We ask that you help our country to heal the divisions that exist and make us all realize that we have more in common than that which we disagree on. As we proceed in today's commission meeting, let us keep in mind that we've been given an extraordinary opportunity to serve. Let us not forget that our actions should please you and not be for the benefit of ourselves, not just for our individual districts, but for the people of Wayne County. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Commissioner. That was a lovely prayer. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Very much needed today. Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item.
reading, correcting, and approval of the journal.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Ware.
Move approval.
Support.
Support.
Been moved and supported. All in favor, we'll do a voice vote. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Can't believe the ayes had it.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Report from the chair.
Thank you so much. A couple of things. One, there was an item that was passed out of COPS to the full board in regards to a parcel of land in Westland. That item has been withdrawn by the administration, so we will not be taking that item up. Also, we have a presentation, abbreviated presentation that was given at Ways and Means on yesterday in regards to a new business program. It passed out of Ways and Means, and we'll have a small presentation today and a vote on that later on in the agenda. That's all that I have right now for the report from the chair.
So, Chair and Felicia,
Yes.
I'm sorry, correct me if I'm wrong. The rules require that the department make the request on the record.
Okay,
Or
when we
withdraw
get to that item. Yes,
Okay.
when they get to that item, they'll do that. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. We're on unfinished business. There is none listed. We are moving to page 2 of the agenda, offering of all petitions, ordinances, resolutions, and presentations. There are 3 items listed. Item number 1 is a resolution by Commissioner Ware strongly supporting Michigan Senate Bill 945 and Michigan House Bill 5837 to amend the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards Act, Public Act 203 of 1965, to establish minimum standards for the training and continuing education of law enforcement officers to avoid incidents of violent or fatal encounters.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Ware.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll move approval.
Support, Addis.
It's been moved and supported by Commissioner Addis. For discussion, Commissioner Ware.
Thank you. I just think at these times, everything that's going on, not only in the state of Michigan, but in America, that we need to work towards strengthening training and an educational process for our law enforcement officers, that we can't just leave them out there like that without giving them a helping hand. And so I've listed in our resolution several suggestions, although I do have a law enforcement background. I have several suggestions, especially I know our chairperson has been working hard with mental health in law enforcement. So anyone have any questions, I would appreciate
Okay,
everyone.
just leave it. I'm gonna drink it cold, okay?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. And I will remind everyone to please put your phones on mute if you're not a commissioner. Please put your phone on mute. Further discussion on resolution number 1. Further discussion, I don't see any hands on the screen. Further discussion on item number 1. Hearing none, we'll do a voice vote. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Anyone wish to abstain?
Motion
Okay, Madam.
carries.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Commissioner. Very timely resolution. Item number 2.
Madam Chair, I'm not sure if we should open it up for sponsorship. A couple of commissioners did ask me, is it anyone that want to join for sponsorship?
Yes, thank you,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Ware. We'll open up the board, Madam Clerk, for sponsorship.
Thank
Thank you, ma'am. Since we're doing it virtually, if you do not want your name as sponsorship, please let the clerk know. If you do not want your name as a co-sponsor, let the clerk know. Otherwise, okay, all the remaining 14 commissioners will be listed as co-sponsors.
Thank you.
Duly noted.
Thank you. Next item.
Item number 2 is an ordinance by Commissioner Killeen to ensure the human and civil rights of all people are protected against discrimination of any kind in Wayne County by adding Chapter 55 to the Wayne County Code of Ordinances to be known as the Wayne County Human Rights Ordinance.
Commissioner Killeen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I think the blurb that was just read says it all: to ensure human and civil rights of all people are protected in our county against discrimination. So this is up today for first reading and referral. The chair decided to refer it to Health and Human Services. So I think the proper motion is to move to refer this to committee.
Support, Varga.
Okay, the ordinance is introduced for first reading, is moved to the Health and Human Services Committee. I will do a voice vote. I'm sorry, go ahead, Commissioner.
Colleen, Madam Chair, brief discussion.
Go ahead.
I just want to briefly note that I have talked to all commissioners about this, and I have a lot of co-sponsors, and they will be listed on the ordinance when it goes to committee. Also looking at the Health and Human Services Committee agenda coming up, we won't be able to take this up next Tuesday. We will take it up 2 weeks from Tuesday, I am arranging for people to testify on this, including we need to hear from our county prosecutor on this. And so we are lining up, and we will have testimony on this bill and discussion, not next Tuesday at Health and Human Services, but 2 weeks from there. So I just wanted people to know what the future of this is. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on this item? Any discussion from commissioners on the Wayne County Human Rights Ordinance proposal? Hearing none, we'll do a voice vote for this item. All in favor of moving this to the Committee on Health and Human Services, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Anyone wish to abstain? Okay,
Motion carries.
thank you. And the last item, please.
Item number 3 is a resolution by Commissioners Bell and Scott declaring June 19, 2020 to be celebrated as Juneteenth Day throughout Wayne County and encouraging all county residents to learn of the date's history and significance.
Commissioner Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So moved.
Support.
Who supported?
Anderson.
Thank you.
Moved and supported. Commissioner Scott for discussion.
Well, let me just say that Senate Bill 384 of 2005, signed on by Granholm, the third Saturday in June is a state holiday. It's just not a paid holiday. But June 19th is national. So I don't know how that fits in. It would be nice if it was a paid holiday. I did hear that one of our businesses is allowing their staff to be paid for June 19th. So we could possibly add that to it because it is a holiday now, but it's the third Saturday, no certain date.
Very good. Well, I think the issue of June 19th is so important that people understand what that is and why it is and why it has significance to African Americans here in this country. So thank you for your efforts, Commissioner Scott, when you were Senator Scott, and bringing this forward in the state of Michigan. I think we need to recognize this every year, and hopefully at some point it could be a national holiday. So any further discussion on item number 3? Any further discussion on item number 3? Hearing none, voice vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Anyone wish to abstain? Okay, and I'd like,
I'm
Motion.
sorry, Madam Chair, would you open the
Yes,
board
yes.
for co-sponsorship, please?
absolutely. The board is now open for co-sponsors. If you wish to co-sponsor the resolution, please indicate if you do not want your name on the resolution. Please let the clerk know if you do not want your name on the resolution. Otherwise, all commissioners will be listed as co-sponsors. Thank you.
Co-sponsors duly noted.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item, please.
We're moving to reports from committees. Report A from the Committee on Economic Development. There is one item listed.
Thank you. Commissioner Hayes?
Thank you, Madam the Chair. I have one item for receive and file. I move to approve that.
Support.
Okay, the item for economic development, receiving files, been moved and supported. Any discussion? Hearing none, as we have done for all committee reports, we take individual accounts. So roll call vote for the Economic Development Committee report.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Basham,
Yes.
Commissioner Baydoun,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Coleman,
Yes.
Commissioner Daub,
Yes.
Commissioner Hattis,
Yes.
Commissioner Killeen,
Yes.
Commissioner Knight,
Yes.
Commissioner Marecki,
Yes.
Commissioner Baker McCormick,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Varga,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Ware,
Yes.
Vice Chair Palomero,
Yes.
Chair Bell.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Next item, please.
We are on Report B from the Committee on Public Services. There is one item listed on pages 2 and 3 of the agenda.
Andy Crandravis.
Hi, this is Michelle Yancey from the Department of Public Services. We are requesting that item number 1 be pulled from the agenda today.
Okay, duly noted. Thank you so much, Michelle.
You're welcome.
Madam Clerk.
Duly noted, without objection, the item was withdrawn. We are
Thank
moving
you.
to item number C, Report C from the Committee on Ways and Means. There are 6 items listed on pages 3 and 4 of the agenda.
Commissioner Varga.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Move the entire report.
Support.
Was that Commissioner
Anderson.
Van Anderson?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have 6 items. I see 4. 6 items on the report of Ways and Means. Any discussion on any of the items? Any discussion on any of the items for the Ways and Means report? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Basham,
Yes.
Commissioner Baydoun,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Coleman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dobb,
Yes.
Commissioner Hattis,
Yes.
Commissioner Killeen,
Aye.
Commissioner Knizik,
Yes.
Commissioner Marecki,
Yes.
Commissioner Baker McCormick,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Varga,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Ware,
Yes.
Vice Chair Palomero,
Yes.
Chair Bell.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Next item, please.
We are moving to Report D from the Committee on Health and Human Services. There are 3 items listed.
Commissioner Killeen.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Items 1 and 3 are both revenue into the county for COVID-19. On item number 2 with the veterans, I want to point out on this that this $500,000 can now be allocated. Well, let me say, prior to today, all of the money that we could spend on veterans were for veterans that were in a wartime, like Vietnam or the 2 Iraq. And we couldn't support people that served during peacetime. This allows us, this $500,000 allows us to reach out also to people that served during those peace times. So this now covers all vets in Wayne County. I will move all 3 items for approval, Madam Chair.
Support.
Anderson.
Monique. Well, go ahead. It's fine.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. Any discussion on these 3 items? One question, and I don't know if it came up in your committee, Commissioner Killeen. This money for the veterans, item number 2, is from the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency. Will this be an ongoing annual allotment, or is this a one-time grant?
I don't think that's determined yet, but I think perhaps our Director of Veteran Affairs, it wasn't presented to us that way, so I don't know if that's true or not. But our Director of Veteran Affairs, if he's on the line, or somebody from administration, might have a little more info on that.
Hey, good morning.
Commissioner, oh, I'm glad he's here. Okay.
Right, Division Director for Wayne County, for what Veteran Services, I'm sorry. So as I understand it, this is, we have not had a conversation if this is going to be an ongoing grant. Ideally, it would be nice if it is, but right now it's just focused on this fiscal year.
This fiscal year. Okay. Well, I'm sure you'll keep us informed whether or not this becomes an ongoing grant situation. Hopefully it will. It makes sense. And maybe we can have some internal dialogue as far as how we're spending our veterans' dollars for peacetime veterans going forward as well. But this is great to have this extra money for all of our veterans. So
I'll tell you,
okay.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. It's a great opportunity to serve as many veterans as possible in Wayne County. And so I just thank you for your support.
Okay. Very good.
Madam
Thank
Chair,
you.
if I may.
Commissioner Killeen?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. You raised the issue about, how we're going to, how this is going to affect the peacetime veterans. None of the rules change. Whatever was available prior will be available to anybody in the peacetime army. So rental assistance, all of those kind of things, emergency food assistance, whatever is available to people prior to this will also be available to people that served in peacetime.
Okay, we just have more money to spend on those services, which is great.
You know it.
Okay, very good. Any additional questions on the Health and Human Services report? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Basham,
Yes.
Commissioner Baydoun,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Coleman,
Yes.
Commissioner Daub,
Yes.
Commissioner Hattis,
Yes.
Commissioner Killeen,
Aye.
Commissioner Knizik,
Yes.
Commissioner Marecki,
Yes.
Commissioner Baker McCormick,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Varga,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Ware,
Yes.
Vice Chair Palomero, Vice Chair Palomero,
Did we lose Vice Chair Palomero? Let me check to see if somehow he got off or if he's muted. Is he muted? Yep, he's muted. Unmute yourself, Vice Chair Palomero.
If he's muted, he can't hear you.
He can hear me. He can hear us. We just can't hear him. Vice Chair Palomero. Oh boy. Okay, I'll send him a text. Continue, Madam Clerk.
Chair Bell,
Yes. And I'll call Commissioner Palomero. Okay. You can go ahead, Madam Clerk.
motion carries.
Okay. Thank you. Next item.
Somebody's phone's ringing.
Yeah, that's mine. I'm calling Joey.
We are on page 5 of the agenda, Report E from the Committee on Audit. There are 2 items listed.
Commissioner Basham?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have 2 items to receive and file. I'd like to move them at this time.
Support, Hattis.
Okay, it's been moved and supported for the Committee on Audit. Any discussion on those items? Any discussion on the audit report? Hearing none, please vote by voice, please.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Basham,
Yes.
Commissioner Baydoun,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Coleman,
Yes.
Commissioner Daub,
Yes.
Commissioner Hattis,
Yes.
Commissioner Killeen,
Aye.
Commissioner Knizik,
Yes.
Commissioner Marecki,
Yes.
Commissioner Baker McCormick,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Varga,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Ware,
Yes.
Vice Chair Palomero,
Yes.
Chair Bell,
Yes,
motion carries.
thank you so much. Next item, please.
We are on Report F from the Committee on Public Safety, Judiciary, and Homeland Security. There are 2 items listed.
Commissioner Clark Coleman?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item number 1 has to do with PPE equipment that a $58,000 grant to allow them to use the emergency supplemental program with the COVID-19 to purchase PPE equipment for the deputies and staff and all of that. And item number 2 is approval of the chair's extant approval of the Michigan corrections in the amount of $2,792,135. And that's for the application and the community corrections plan for fiscal year 2021.
Okay. Thank you. It's been moved.
So I do move it, yes.
All right. Is there support?
Support. Scott.
Okay. It's been moved and supported. Any discussion on the public safety report?
Yes. I got my
Commissioner
hand up,
Basham.
a virtual hand up.
ahead,
I'm
Commissioner
in
Basham.
support of this, but we had discussions about taking thermometers for taking people's temperatures and stuff. And I'm told that a number of the departments are not doing that. And they really should, and they should actually report back. And I don't know about the sheriff's department, but I know that a number of different departments, I'm told, without the folks wanting to get their name involved in this, they're not taking temperatures when somebody is actually reporting sick on the job, but also relative to, this is supposed to be the public safety and distancing. And we've been dancing around the marina on actually, we need a boat dock for people that are actually picking up dead bodies out of Detroit River. So some of this money we should think about, and they have to be separated. So why can't we find some money? Why can't the Wayne County Commission find some money for the Marine Patrol, the Wayne County Sheriff's Department?
Well,
Anybody
we'll
can
have
respond.
budget talks will begin this summer. And if you could please let Mark Abbo know that, we can put that into the discussion and hopefully find some money and see what the cost is going to be, first of all, of course, and then see if we can find a revenue source for that.
Madam Chair, we know what the costs are. We've already done some engineering. This has been ongoing talks and no action for a couple of years. And quite frankly, it's bad, it's dangerous, and we're going to wind up with some lawsuits. Commissioners need to go down there and check the docks for the Marine Patrol.
Is there someone from the Sheriff's Office who can respond to that?
Through the chair, this is Sumaya Harp from the Sheriff's Office. Good morning. We did apply for a grant, state grant and federal grant, but as of right now, we have not received yay or nay on it. I'll keep you posted on whether or not they will give us the grant. The grant will cover the rebuilding of the marina, the dock, so we are able to store the boats and then walk on the dock without falling in the water. And to speak to the comment Commissioner Basham asked about taking temperatures, we did buy 26 thermometers, no touch thermometers, that anybody who enters the sheriff's office, whether it's the Henry Ruff location or the jails or the admin building, their temperature is taken. And if they have temperature, they're not allowed in.
Madam Chair, if I may respond to the grant. We applied, the counties applied for Tiger grants for grade separations for many, many years. And quite frankly, we never got them. It took the county, the state, and the feds to finally come together after 20 years. I don't want this to be a 20-year project to get this dock fixed for the Marine Patrol. And we need to, prioritize where we're going to do our spending. But that, for me, I don't know if you can tell, but it's an important issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you for bringing it up. We'll continue to have dialogue. Hopefully we can get this resolved this fiscal year or next fiscal year as we do next year's budget. Any other discussion on the report? Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Basham, with the thermostats, if you could please give those concerns to Janelle Allen. She's been spearheading the safety and the back to work protocols. If you can please give her that information so she can investigate. I'm sure she'll be greatly appreciative of whatever information you can give her about departments not taking the temperatures.
It's done. I'll do it.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Any further discussion on the public safety report? If not, roll call vote.
Commissioner Anderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Basham?
Yes.
Commissioner Baydoun?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Coleman?
Yes.
Commissioner Daub?
Yes.
Commissioner Hattis?
Yes.
Commissioner Killeen?
Yes.
Commissioner Kniezek?
Yes.
Commissioner Marecki,
Yes.
Commissioner Baker McCormick,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Varga,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Ware,
Yes.
Vice Chair Palomero,
Yes.
Chair Bell.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item, please.
We are moving to page 6 of the agenda, Report G from the Committee on Government Operations. There are 3 items listed.
Commissioner Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 1 is the approval of a 2-year modification comparable source contract with a 1-year option to renew the Charter County of Wayne Governmental Consultant Services. Okay, number 2, let me go on down. Okay, number 2 is a retroactive amendment to a 1-year sole source contract of Technology Incorporated of Windsor, not to exceed $36,000, to extend the contract to 2 years. Number 3 is approval of a 3-year comparative agreement with a 1-year option to renew between the Charter of Wayne and EMC Corporation, not to exceed $445,224,600 for a storage attached network and virtual data interface.
Okay. All right. And you're moving these
And
items?
I move the 3 items.
Okay. Thank you. It's moved and supported by Commissioner Hados. Any discussion on these 3 items from Government Operations?
I have a virtual hand raised.
Commissioner Basham.
Yes, I'll be a no vote on 2. And I have a question, Madam Chair. Do you see my hand when I push the virtual hand raise?
I do when I look at it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you
Thank
got
you.
one job, Madam Chair, one job.
It messes up my screen now when I tap it very often. Okay.
And you will be tapping it more if I have my way.
Thank you, sir.
Madam Chair, there was
Yes.
a reason for number 2. If there is someone from that staff there, if they want to explain that again.
Why number 2 is a sole source? Is there someone from the department to speak on item number 2?
And retroactive.
And retroactive.
Yes.
Anyone from IT?
Looking for DOIT right now, Madam Chair.
Anybody? Okay. All right, Andy.
Can we go through the rest of the agenda?
Yeah,
I'm trying to get Carlos right now.
Commissioner Anderson. Go ahead, Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you. I brought this up several times before. Item number 1, we're continuing to have multiple lobbying groups working on behalf of the county in Lansing, and not heard a good explanation why we're spending so much money on lobbying for 2 different firms when either of the 2 firms could be sufficient.
Madam Chair, so to number 2, we're getting, I think Cheryl should be on from DOIT, and maybe she's having technical difficulties. So that hopefully that'll clear up in a second here. But for number 1, I mean, it's not, I don't know if the commissioner is concerned about the cost or the number of firms.
I guess both. Why do we need 2 firms?
Well, I guess we don't need any, or we need, we could need 5. I don't know. It's a question of how we want to do it. But I'll tell you that I think that there's definitely enough work to go around for both firms. We're very involved in many things. We're the largest county in the in the state. So we'd be glad to discuss it with the commissioner and going forward, but this is keeping what we have now, which I think has been working pretty well.
I'm fully aware of the fact we're the largest county in the state. There are some counties that don't even have a lobbyist in Lansing, and I'm not recommending that. But I believe either of those two firms would be fully capable of handling affairs for the county. So I'll be a yes vote, but I would like to request a historic report on how much we've paid the two lobbying firms.
Sure, I don't think that's going to be hard to pull up for MNB to pull up. Sure.
Okay, thank you.
And maybe in that report to also indicate what issues they work on. I don't know if they work on the same issues or one maybe does public safety, human
Madam
services,
Chair,
another one does another.
I would like it to also include what the reasoning is for two firms and how the work is divided between those two firms.
Yes.
Well, I think that could make for an interesting hearing. I guess I can put a paragraph together, but I'm happy to talk to the commissioner after the meeting to get what he wants.
And Madam Chair, we do get reports on each of these.
Yes, we do.
On all the items that they work on.
Yes. So, okay. Any further
Madam
discussion,
Chair,
Commissioner Vargas?
on item 1, there are 110 legislators just in the state house, and I would imagine that it does make it a little bit easier if we have more firms working on different issues with the House and the Senate. That is why I have been supporting both firms, because they do each have different relationships with senators and state representatives, and that is very important. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think one important thing is you don't put all your eggs in one basket. We've got people that specialize in different areas. So why would you have to stick with one company when you can get more done with two?
Any further discussion?
Madam Chair, I really agree with Clerk Coleman on this. The issue here, they charge us per hours. So if we move all the load to one firm, we're not going to save any money because you're giving them more hours, more work. And I think in the cost, it's not going to make any difference. But as Commissioner Clerk Coleman mentioned, why you want to put all your eggs in one basket. And many times we get so many issues in the same time, and you want to work on it and lobby for it, and sometimes it's difficulty. The difficulty it's be created because you have one representative to lobby for you, and they didn't have enough time to meet the deadline. So I think it's a safe way. I think the cost is not going to make that much difference because they're going to charge you for the hours they put anyway. So I think it's a good idea to be safe than sorry.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Commissioner Basham?
Where in the contract does it say it's charging you for hours?
Repeat the question, Commissioner.
Where in the contract does it say it's charging you for hours?
Per hours?
Yes.
Commissioner
commissioner just said that they charge us per hours, whether it's one or two, doesn't make any difference. And I'm not sure about that.
Well, Andy could answer that. I think he know how.
Yeah, it's not a per hour charge. It's a flat monthly.
Okay. Then I'm right, and I was wrong. Thank you.
Yeah. Well,
Any further discussion?
Yeah.
Commissioner Hayes?
if it's contract, so you're gonna double the load on one firm, so you're gonna have a contract that equal to the two. That makes sense. So why not having two represent you instead of one for the same amount of money?
Is this? Madam Chair, Madam Chair?
Go ahead. Yes, go
If
ahead.
I don't, if we can just, I hate asking you to do this, but I don't know if IT is now on the line. If there's a question on number 1.
Number 2.
Number 2.
Oh, I'm sorry, number 2. I've been in touch with the director who said Cheryl should have been on the call. She might be having technical difficulties. I don't know if somebody else has been able to.
Anyone from IT able to speak to number 2? Okay, well, they spoke. Oh, it's just Cheryl. Okay, hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm sorry, I was having some problems. I just dialed in.
Okay, number 2, with the IT contract, it's a sole source. Just if you can get the explanation for the sole source and retroactivity of that contract.
Okay, are you talking the proof of concept?
The PCC technology?
PCC, yes. Stacy Johnson was the contract manager working on that, and she took that over because due to layoffs and furloughs, a previous contract manager was working on that, and I know that there were some issues with the vendor in obtaining documents. So that's what it was, retro, trying to work with the vendor and get the information that was needed and get it processed.
Thank you. And she did explain that at the meeting, committee meeting.
Yes, at GovOps. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Any additional questions on number 2 for Cheryl? Okay. Any additional questions on any item on the government operations report? Any additional discussion? Okay. Roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Anderson? Commissioner Anderson?
He had lost connection. I told him to call in. Come back to Commissioner Anderson, please.
Commissioner Basham?
I'll be a yes on 1 and 3 and a no on 2.
Duly noted. Commissioner Baydoun?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Coleman?
Yes.
Commissioner Daub?
Yes.
Commissioner Hadis?
Yes.
Commissioner Killeen?
Yes.
Commissioner Knizik?
Yes.
Commissioner Marecki?
Yes.
Commissioner Baker McCormick?
Yes, I am. I'm on.
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Anderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Commissioner Varga?
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Ware?
Yes.
Vice Chair Calamera?
Yes.
Chair Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries with Commissioner Basham being a no vote on item 2.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item.
We are on page 7 of the agenda, Report H from the Committee on Ways and Means, which is listed on the addenda. There is one item listed.
Okay, Commissioner Varga.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to ask that the motion be made by Commissioner Marecki and supported by Commissioner Dobb, because they have been at the meetings on Fridays every week. So, and then we can have discussion by Mr. Khalil Rahal and the rest of us. So I would like to turn the floor over to Commissioner Marecki.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to move this item.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. For discussion, is Mr. Khalil Rahal on the line?
I am, but I am under the name of Wafat De Niro, and I apologize. We were having IT issues as well. So,
Hey, Khalil Wafa, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, and I'm sorry about that. And I want to thank, Madam Chair and all the commissioners who's been heavily involved in this. As you all know, every Friday at 1 o'clock, we've been meeting for about 8 weeks now at the direction of the county executive. He said he wanted to organize a group to truly listen and hear small business concerns. And so, we've been having these meetings, and at one point or another, many of you have attended. Big ups to Commissioner Marecki and Commissioner Dobb and the chairwoman who's been at multiple of these. But they've been there every Friday. We go into our group sessions to talk about small business issues. We bring the groups back together for somebody to report out, and the two commissioners are oftentimes the one that are actually doing the reporting on behalf of the group. So they're really involved in these things. And so we've been listening to small business issues over the last 8 weeks. And here's what small businesses are facing. They've been shut down for 3 months. A lot of them have, and that's a quarter of the year. They're able to open up now with new executive orders, but only at 50% capacity. And, they're still dealing with increased expenses, right? They have different sanitation expenses, plexiglass, PPE, and consumer confidence, right now is at a low. And so people aren't necessarily participating at the rate we would like to see in our economy. And so, they've been asking for help. You all know we've been providing them help. We've got different grant programs. We've got different loan programs. We've been doing, an open streets program, which I'm happy to report. There's been like 21 different municipalities in Wayne County that have reached out to us that we're working with on closing down of streets, changing permits and ordinances to expand capacity issues for small businesses. So there's no doubt that our shop is doing a lot, but definitely more is needed. And so, at the direction of the county executive, you all know we received about $188 million in CARES Act money. We want to direct $50 million of those dollars to help small businesses, which we know is an eligible expense. We did a presentation yesterday for the Ways and Means Committee. I'm happy to answer any questions from yesterday, but the long and short of it is, we are looking at about 2 months of lost revenue for small businesses with the months of April and May, and capping a grant to a small business who is awarded at $10,000. By my math, that means we can help about 5,000 businesses in Wayne County at minimum, and likely more. Some of the details around the grant program include, the capacity for any bricks and mortar business that's within Wayne County. They have to be under 50 employees. They have to be making less than $1 million in sales. They have to be in good standing with Laura, and they have to be current on their taxes. They will have a grant agreement to fill out certifying this information. They have to provide their tax returns. They have to be profitable and in existence for a year. The discussion that we had at Ways and Means yesterday, I thought brought out some really good issues. And since yesterday, we have made some changes. And there are 2 changes that I want to point out based on some questions that Commissioner Baker McCormick and Commissioner Martha G. Scott and others that have raised. Yesterday when we were before the committee, the requirement for profit was going to be gross profit, under $1 million. We are now changing that to sales under $1 million. And the reason for that is that really helps hone in on, your true mom and pop small business. There was a lot of questions about whether or not we can dedicate, a portion of the agreement to a business that are, below 20 or 25 or 10 employees. And, we thought about that, and we looked at programs nationwide, and we talked to our consultants, and I can't, begin to express how difficult administratively that would be. And so what we did do is we did make a change based on the feedback that we got to target it across all businesses. We're under $1 million in sales, which is different than $1 million in profit. And so I think that actually hones in a little bit more on the target we are trying to receive. The second change that we're making, some commissioners, and I know Commissioner Bell has expressed this as well, there was a concern of if a business had received a grant from Wayne County in the past, they shouldn't necessarily be able to get this grant as well, because we want to help as many businesses as possible. And there was a lot of logic to that. I will tell you, we've got some pretty passionate staff here who have said, we don't want, we granted about 180 businesses, I think, in the first time around. And, the grant available at that time was only, you know, $2,500 or $5,000. They don't want to punish those folks who you know, were awarded the grant in the past and really were some of the hardest hit businesses in the county. And so what we've decided to do is design. Sorry, can you hear me? There's a little bit of an echo. But what we've decided to do is propose that, you know, we go forward with an agreement that anybody who has received a grant agreement from Wayne County actually, you know, be excluded from the program, and we go through our process of selection. And if we've gone through all the applications and there is still money left over, then we would include those businesses to give businesses who have not received a grant a priority. And I think that those two changes are significant changes based on the feedback that we got, you know, from the Ways and Means meeting. I want to make it very clear, if we are fortunate enough today to get your approval, we're not going to go live with the grant application today. We are going to wait until June 29th. And the reason for that is we want to take the next 10 days or so to really go around the county and promote this program. We're going to hold different webinars. We're going to record those webinars, put them on our website. You know, your real, true small business sometimes has a hard time obtaining this information and working through the application process. And so we are going to open the application up June 29th. It'll go live for 2 weeks. Then we will close the application. And we are going to work with our consultants, Guidehouse, to do a random selection through a lottery system, which is a system that we're going to use through Salesforce to choose small businesses, and then, you know, figure out the compliance issues, verify that, you know, they're in good standing with Laura and all these other requirements, and continue down that process until we hit $50 million. And so, you know, I really hope that this gets approved today. I can't express enough how appreciative some of the folks are. You know, I can tell you that there's going to be, you know, at least, you know, 67 people tomorrow who are going to be so excited to hear this, hear the news about this program, because they've been working on it for about 8 weeks. So I'm happy to answer any questions, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm looking at hands.
Don't see you, Chair.
You don't see me? Okay, thank you. Do you see me now?
Nope, I see your desk.
You see my desk? Okay, hold on. Do you see me now?
No.
You don't?
I see you.
You see me? Okay, very good. Thank
Yes.
you. Looking at hands, I see Commissioner Palomero, then Commissioner Irma Clark-Coleman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank and congratulate the people in economic development that saw fit to make a good program even better by these tweaks. It truly gets to small business by saying up to $1 million in sales or revenue rather than $1 million in profit, which is a substantially different business. And by my math, if these grants are going to be up to 10,000 or between 5 and 10,000, that should cover between 5 and 10,000 small businesses in Wayne County, which is significant. And as I said, thank you for those changes. You just made a good program even better. I can't wait to vote yes. Thanks, Madam Chair.
I should also say that we also made a change that Commissioner Glenn Anderson also mentioned, which was taxes, and I forgot to mention. So there's 3 changes based on the feedback.
Okay. May can't see me, Commissioner Scott. Put me on the list, please.
Am I up now?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Hello. So unfortunately, we have bad connection in the Guardian building. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
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 I can
I
hear you.
keep going in
I can
and
hear
out.
you.
Okay,
Can you hear
Commissioner
me?
Clark
Put
Coleman,
me
then
on the
Commissioner
list, Scott.
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Clark Coleman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, what do you do with a business who has struggled?
Yeah.
And Alicia and I both know this business very well. It's called Table Number 2, who really struggled. They opened 1 month after the year requirement to get business loan. Then they were faced with the city coming and close and doing construction work for about 7 months and causing a lot of problems with people being able to get to the businesses was wonderful. And then as soon as that finished and he started to open up and do really good business, then the COVID-19 struck.
Yeah.
So then he was faced once again with that situation. He had to close about a month ago. So what do you do with businesses who have struggled through no fault of their own,
yeah,
and eventually had to close?
It's such an excellent question, and I can only couch this by saying, you know, there really isn't a whole lot of great answers for that, unfortunately, because we are facing a pandemic, and it's unfortunate. And businesses are going to close during that pandemic, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't try to help. And the best answer that I have for you is this: if a business like the one you just mentioned does not qualify for this program or one of the others, we have a business development manager over that district that's going to help advise that business how to qualify for some program that exists. The best example I can give you right now is the PPP program, which is really a great, well-intended program. The problem is, you know, it's not getting into the neighborhoods. It's not getting into the kind of businesses you're describing. You know, it's going to the larger kinds of businesses, but there is still money available. And so for a business like that, I would tell them, you know, let me get their contact information. Let me connect them with our business development manager, and let's try to get them a PPP loan, which is a loan that turns into a forgivable loan grant that also is not taxed on that business. It's a really well-intended program, but the small businesses like you're describing just don't have as much access to it. And so the best that we can do right now is to advise them on programs like that, you know, or other programs that we may have that they may be suitable for. The Health Choice program, which, you know, Madam Chair is also the chair of. How can we save them on costs? SBA loans, different advice that we can sort of refer them to.
Well, you know what, Khalil, right now, he's trying to open his business back up again. That's what's important.
Right.
And he's having to go and do a FundMe fundraiser.
Crowdfunding?
Pardon?
Crowdfunding, yes,
Yeah, to try to raise enough money to open up at a different location, because his landlord seized upon this chance and refused to renew his lease.
Mm-hmm.
Among everything else that's happened to these young entrepreneurs, there's a set of twins, and they were educated and trained at the Detroit Public School, Randolph Book Tech School. So
Sure.
They've been doing everything right, and everything seems to be happening to these two young entrepreneurs. And right now, like as I said, they were evicted from the building because the owner said that he wasn't going to renew their contract. Now they're trying to go GoFundMe to raise enough money to be able to open at a different location. There ought to be something that somebody could do for these two young gentlemen who has exhibited that they have the acumen to run businesses, but everything has been happening to them at the wrong time. The chair is well aware of the situation that I'm talking about, and it's just it's heartbreaking.
I would love to get their contact information from you after this meeting, if possible, so that we could reach out to them and try to see what we can do.
I will be glad to. I'll text you that information.
There you go.
Thank you, Commissioner. That was a very good point. And with the business development team that Khalil has, I'm hopeful that there is something that we can do to help businesses like that who have the business acumen, but it's just been, you know, situation after situation that has unfortunately happened to them to put them in the situation where what they're in now. So thank you for bringing that up. And I'm sure the twins are grateful for your advocacy and our advocacy on their behalf. Commissioner Scott, then Commissioner Ilona Varga.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Thank you so much, Khalil, for listening to us the other day, because we have small businesses that are just getting started, really, in our communities. And if we don't help them, they will never have a chance to grow. So thank you. I think it is so important that we help these businesses. And I'm just thinking back what Commissioner Clark Coleman just said. I remember going up and down Livernois there, and all those businesses, so many of them were not even able to reopen again, you know. So it's just been hard. So if you can help these two, please do, and
Yes,
try to
ma'am.
reach out to those who were in this. I think that the city of Detroit and whoever did all of that should really help too. So the Chamber of Commerce, all of them should be working with these groups and that. And as I
Yes, ma'am.
indicated, that I have some businesses that are just opening up, and then they got caught in this. And my cities are small, and the businesses are just getting started. And so I would appreciate all that you can do. So I am grateful that you were and your staff was listening to us. So thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Varga, then Commissioner Monique Baker McCormick.
Thank you. I want to thank Khalil and the entire staff for working on this and also for hearing us yesterday.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know also that hopefully by the end of June, we will have a good reading of where we are at budget-wise, and also how much monies we may have left from the grant. And I'm hoping that if we have enough money left, that we might be able to go for Khalil for another one for the very smallest of businesses who only have maybe 10 or less employees or 20 or less, but maybe with more direct dollars instead of doing it through the lottery, so that we could help the ones that are in need that we know of instead of doing it through the lottery. So I would like to have that put out for consideration if there are any monies left, because I do know that you do not want to give any of that back to the feds. So
Right.
again, thank you for all the hard work, and looking forward to a complete report at the end of June on where we are at with the COVID dollars and with the budget as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Monique Baker McCormick, then Commissioner Sam Baydoun.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Khalil, we had a great conversation yesterday, and I really appreciate you including some of the suggestions. But after our conversation, I also thought about, again, what we call mom and pop shops, and the $1 million, the limit that we're looking at. It still seems a little bit high, but even if we're working with that $1 million profit, is there a way that we might look at businesses that are not profitable? As Clark Coleman just indicated, some businesses have been struggling because of a lot of issues that weren't really related to them personally. And if we could look at opening it up, not just based on their profitability, but that maybe they have been in business for, 3 to 5 years, we look at that they are, or have been in business, but they may not have been profitable for the last year or two.
Sure.
And I'm looking at this in the way that the stimulus dollars that the government gave to all Americans, whether, you know, you were profitable or not, every American had an opportunity to get the stimulus dollars. So I was looking at that and just still trying to find a way to truly get to the mom and pop, 1 or 1 to 10 employees. And so just something to think about in addition to the other items. I'm just really, you know, just trying to get to those smaller businesses.
Sure. I think what you're trying to do is well intended, and I think the thing that you're trying to accomplish is to truly send the money where the need is, and I think that is an intention that we share. I know it's something that the chairwoman has been passionate about. I know that the 2 commissioners who have been part of our working groups have also expressed, you know, that same thing. Just like I heard yesterday from Commissioner Martha G. Scott and everybody else, and Commissioner Sam Baydoun and others. And I think we're trying to do the best that we can to weigh those concerns, you know, with the administrative concerns that we would face to try to get this money out as fast as possible. And I think we you know, there's always a little give and take whenever you look at any kind of programming. It's never done right on the bullseye. But I do think, you know, the changes we've made over the last 24 hours at least get us closer to a place where we're on the same ground. So, but I hear you loud and clear, and we'll continue to look at it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And just for clarification, Khalil, it's not profitability anymore. It's a business that has sales of.
That's exactly right.
So sales of $1 million or less.
Which will actually, you know, hone in on what, you know, you and Commissioner Baker McCormick and others have expressed, right? You're trying to get it to your 10 kind of person shop. As we pointed out yesterday, you know, a restaurant with 10 tables could have 30 employees. You know, it's hard. You know, it's hard to do this, you know, exactly on the nose. But what we did was we made a change based on your concerns that I think gets closer to your answer.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Baydoun, then Commissioner Haydos, then Commissioner Marecki.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, I would like to thank the Evans administration. Thank you, Khalil, and the entire economic team for putting this together. This is much needed. There are many businesses who are at risk of going under, and I believe this grant will come in at the right time. And again, I expressed my concerns yesterday, and thank you for listening to our concerns yesterday, Khalil, at our Ways and Means Committee meeting. If there's a way that we can expand this to include newly opened businesses who have not been in business for a year, if there's any money left, that we can expand it to include those people, because you know, I know a couple of businesses, they just opened 7-8 months ago, and they're struggling as it is, and they need a little bit of support right now. So if something happens where there's money left, I hope we can include some of these other businesses. But overall, I'm very excited for many of the business owners in Wayne County. This is much needed. And thank you for the leadership, Khalil, and the entire economic team. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Haydos, then Commissioner Marecki, then Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you, Madam the Chair. Khalil, maybe you help me understand this. Yesterday was mentioned as the business in the red would not qualify. And I have a concern because many businesses now, they need help because they in the red because of the situation we in.
Right.
Those people, you're gonna be in the red before the virus situation, or
this is such a good pointed question, and I meant to say this to Commissioner Baker McCormick's question, every business is in the red right now, right? We know that. There's no, the point of the grant is to help with, you know, the lost revenue of both the months of April and May, right? Like that's the point of it. But what we're looking at is, you know, at least, you know, about 3 years of tax returns, 2017, 2018, 2019, and checking the profitability of the business over the course of that time. So every business, I mean, the reason why we're doing this is because every business is in the red. So that's, you know, the measure that we're looking at is how businesses performed in those same months in previous years. And that's why people have to submit their tax returns. That's why they have to certify, you know, with a grant agreement that these things are actual, legal, and real. And so you're asking just the right question. Thank you for helping me clear it up.
Thank you. And the second point here, I know in Commissioner Dobbs' district in Canton, a person that used to have restaurant in the city of Wayne a long time ago, and he went out of business. And before the virus situation started, he went and took all his saving and leased a building in Canton and open it as a restaurant. And here the downfall happened. And now he's closed and he doesn't fit in any of the ingredients you have. He doesn't have 1 year record on his tax bill, and he doesn't have and he doesn't have the ability to continue to pay the lease to stay open. So where did he fit in this kind of situation?
Yeah, I mean, in this situation, similar to table 2, and if you can give me the contact information for that business owner, I will have our team and the business development manager in that area is David Schreiber, who you know has been doing this stuff for 30 years. Let us try to find a program. And let me also say this, you know, I think Commissioner Sam Beydoun had a good suggestion. I think others kind of alluded to this as well. Let us go through this and see what happens. You know, we learned a lot from the very first round of grants. And what I suspect will happen is after administering a good portion of this $50 million, we will continue to learn a lot. And if after going through all the grant applications we receive, there are, you know, a stack of applications that don't qualify because, you know, the gentleman in Canton just opened up his business. If there is some money left over after going through all the applications and seeing that there's people that you know didn't apply that could still use the money, let us think about that programming and come back to you. And if it's something that we think, you know, we've got, you know, we've excluded, you know, let's say we get 10,000 applications and we've excluded 7,000 of them. But 3,000 was spent, and we have, you know, $10–20 million still left to go. Maybe we will look at that, you know, 7,000 that has been excluded, and see what makes sense. Maybe it makes sense to reduce the year eligibility, or raise the $1 million in sales, or whatever that data sort of reveals to us, and we'll come back to you.
Okay, my final question, Madam the Chair, is. You mentioned if you already apply for grant from the county before this, you will not qualify for this one. My problem is I didn't, maybe you know, it's a different way. I understand it's the first grant we have. The first one wasn't a grant, it was loan. So if somebody have the loan through the TCF,
so
it's
the
not considered
the resolution as it's written, that's right. And so if someone got a loan from the TCF program, they would still qualify for this grant, because you're pointing out the right problem. Someone took out a loan, they're actually in just, you know, sometimes more trouble than they were in before, right? And so they need more help. And so yes, absolutely, because I'm not those people will still qualify.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any other grant by Wayne County before this one.
There was one. Yeah, there was one grant. We received, you know, 1.6 million from the MEDC that we split with the DEGC, 800,000 and 800,000. And so some businesses, approximately 180 businesses, received a grant from us in the amount of either $2,500 or $5,000. And I've got a breakdown sheet that we can have Andy send to everybody if you want more information on that. But there was a grant program that we administered early on. Some businesses
We
in Wayne
administer,
County,
but it's not considered Wayne County.
it's not considered. Well, it's money from it was money that came from the MEDC. It's all tax dollars from somewhere.
Okay, well, I hope we reach those really in the need in this grant. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Marecki and then Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have a question and a comment. And Khalil, I think we touched on this yesterday, but will there be something we can all start posting on our Facebook and make sure our chambers, because I know everybody's really biting at the bit now that we're voting on this to start spreading the word. Okay, and I just wanted to make a couple of comments that I did yesterday that Commissioner Dobb and I did serve on this the last couple of months, and it was really an amazing experience. Yesterday we had over 100 people on the Ways and Means meeting, and just in case there's businesses and chambers and even a lot of the elected officials that met over these 2 months, I wanted to acknowledge them again for all the work they did. And it was just really interesting having all these players come together every Friday afternoon and work out things about, businesses opening up. Again, the website, Wayne County website's got an area, which is excellent, about opening up businesses, in case any of you want to see that. And I'm just really happy to have served on this, and I really thank the EDC team. You guys did a great job, and especially bringing everybody together. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Anderson.
Along the lines of what Commissioner Marecki had said, that was my question, was to ask Khalil when we should expect that commissioners will receive that information and possibly a flyer before it's up and made public, or at the same time, just to make sure we get that information as soon as possible. So Khalil, do you know when the date would be that we will get that?
Emailing it to you as we speak, the flyer.
Oh,
great.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And I see Felicia Johnson, our counsel, had her hand up.
Madam Chair, I lowered my hand, but I was just going to clarify a point for Commissioner Haddis with regards to the grant program that Khalil mentioned. Yes. That grant program is in the process of being submitted to the commission. It's something that we've been waiting for several weeks now. So it was a county program, and it's my understanding it's still in the system and waiting to be submitted to the commission for review and approval.
Thank you, counsel. Okay, we're on Committee on Ways and Means. Any further discussion on the item, which is the $50 million reallocating funds from the CARES grant for a small business program? It's been moved and supported. We'll do a roll call vote. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Anderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Basham?
Yes.
Commissioner Baydoun?
I'm here. Yes.
Commissioner Clark Coleman?
Yes.
Commissioner Dobb?
Yes.
Commissioner Haddis?
Yes.
Commissioner Killeen?
An emphatic yes.
Commissioner Kniezek?
Yes.
Commissioner Marecki?
Yes.
Commissioner Baker McCormick?
Yes.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Commissioner Varga?
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Ware?
Yes.
Vice Chair Palomera?
Yes.
Chair Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item, Madam Clerk.
We are moving back to page 7 of the agenda, upcoming committee and task force meetings.
Okay, everyone, please note the meetings for next week. If there are any changes, please notify the clerk. Next item.
Madam Chair.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I did
Commissioner
want to
Anderson?
mention, make sure everyone notices that it's not next week, but the meeting on the criminal justice complex is at noon today, a Zoom meeting also.
Okay, that's today at 12 o'clock for the jail force task force meeting.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next item.
Public comments.
Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak? Clerk, if you muted everyone, you could unmute everyone at this time. Anyone from the public wishing to address the Wayne County Commission? Madam Clerk, do you have any emails that you need to read?
No emails were received.
Is there anyone on the line who wish to address the Wayne County Commission? If so, you have 1 minute. Anyone? Uh-oh. Anyone wishing to address the Wayne County Commission?
Is this about the Hines Park issue?
This is public comments on whatever issue you would like to bring forth to the Wayne County Commission. You have 1 minute. Please give your name for the record.
Nancy Lawler, Lawlor, and I'm concerned about the park. It seems like bit by bit we're losing our park, and we've all in the county have paid for years our taxes going towards the park, and it's given for recreation and enjoyment, and it's also the floodplain, as you all know that. I'm not telling you anything new, but I'm concerned. I remember somebody saying about phase 1, this is part of phase 1, the parking lot, and what is phase 2? Are they going to continue building there? I don't know if you will be able to answer that. And
that's taken off of our agenda, ma'am. We're not, that's not before us at this time.
Okay, well, I'm totally opposed to the parking lot at that corner. It's a dangerous corner, and I don't believe the bikers need that, or the people need that. Plenty of parking inside of the park for all those other activities, and I hope to guide everybody really considers everything before they vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the Wayne County Commission? Any other public comments? One more time, any public comments? Okay, thank you. You can mute everyone except commissioners now. Next item.
We're moving to new business. There are 2 items listed on the agenda. Item number 1 is requesting commission approval of a supplemental funding award to the Charter County of Wayne from the U.S. Department of Treasury out of the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security CARES Fund.
Move for approval.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion on the first item? And what I'd like to do is just take both items together. Any discussion on the first item? Any discussion on the first item? Hearing none, the next item.
Item number 2 is requesting commission approval of the disbursement of $50 million by the Charter County of Wayne to grantees in the Small Business Recovery Grant Program for businesses in the county that have been impacted by COVID-19. And also, the county executive is requesting delegated authority to administer the program.
Okay, it was moved, item 1 was moved and supported. Whoever moved and supported item 1, can you make it item 1 and 2?
Yes, yes, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, you have that?
I have Commissioner Anderson as the maker and Commissioner Scott as the supporter.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, any discussion on item number 2? Any discussion on item number 2?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
This is Felicia. So
Yes.
just for clarification for commissioners, the resolution that was included in your packet has been updated to reflect some of the changes that Khalil had mentioned that they made to the program yesterday. So the last whereas clause has been revised. And what this resolution to do would, as they enter into the grant agreements with the businesses, those will not come back to the commission. they're requesting delegated authority so that they can execute those without an additional need for commission oversight or approval.
Thank you, Council. Any questions on Felicia's report and the resolution? And the resolution codifies the discussion that we had earlier.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Will we get a update of the businesses that have received the grants or any reporting on that?
Absolutely.
Even though okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on items 1 and 2? Further discussions on item 1 and 2? Okay, it's been moved and supported. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Basham,
Yes.
Commissioner Baydoun,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Coleman,
Yes.
Commissioner Daub,
Yes.
Commissioner Hattis,
Yes.
Commissioner Killeen,
Aye.
Commissioner Knizik,
Yes.
Commissioner Marecki,
Yes.
Commissioner Baker McCormick,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Varga,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Ware,
Yes.
Vice Chair Palomera,
Yes.
Chair Bell.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you so much. Next item, please.
We are returning to the agenda. We are on page 8, testimonial resolutions and certificates of appreciation. There are 5 items listed.
Move approval.
Support.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Ware, supported by Commissioner Baydoun. All of the resolutions are listed before us. Any discussion on these items? Hearing none, we'll do a voice vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Anyone wish to abstain? Okay. Madam Clerk?
Memoriams. There are no names listed.
Would anyone like to add a memoriam at this time? Anyone wish to add any names specifically? If not, we'll still have a moment of silence, especially in these days in light of those persons who have been killed unnecessarily by law enforcement. So we'll have a moment of silence for all that we've lost over the last 2 weeks. Okay. Thank you. Next item.
Reconsiderations.
There are none. Next item.
Remarks by members.
Any remarks by members? I am looking at hands. Any hands? I don't see any hands. Any remarks by members?
Colleen, Madam
Commissioner
Chair.
Killeen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I alluded to it earlier under the Health and Human Services report that we wouldn't be able to take up the Human Rights Ordinance. I'm sorry?
Yes, the ordinance.
Yeah, that in committee, we won't be able to take it up for a couple of weeks in Health and Human Services because Tuesday of this week, and I encourage commissioners to, and the public to tune into the Health and Human Services Committee coming up this Tuesday. I was contacted by a representative of a consortium of profits around Metro Detroit, and many of those are providers in the mental health system over at the Mental Health Authority. The email came under Wayne County. They sent me an email entitled Wayne County Silent Healthcare Crisis. So we're going to have 4 of our larger providers, the Development Center, the STEP Services to Enhance Potential, Starfish, and Hajira Help, that all deal with different folks that are receiving services from the Detroit Wayne Mental Health Authority. So I have mentioned before, you know, the real difficulties there are in funding for mental health services. They also want to talk to us about their difficulties in getting PPE for what they have to operate as a nonprofit. So I think it's going to be a real good look at the challenges of providing the adequate mental health services for the people of Wayne County. I have also contacted Willie Brooks, our CEO over at the Mental Health Authority, and he will be joining us as well. So I think your folks is going to be a good opportunity to get a real good soup to nuts. What are the challenges, the serious challenges that we're facing to provide adequate mental health care in this county? So that'll be next Tuesday, and I will send notices around to all commissioners. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Marecki?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was just wondering, do we have any update about our occupancy in the Guardian building coming up, or are we still planning on the first week of July? I didn't really hear all of the governor's update yesterday, so.
Right. She did not include that in her update yesterday. However, I understand that very soon she'll be extending the Open Meetings Act to meet virtually, but that hasn't come down officially yet. So if she extends us meeting virtually with the Open Meeting Act, then it's possible that we will go another few weeks via Zoom. So at this point, I would probably count on us having our July 2nd meeting via Zoom. We're just waiting for her to put the official notice out that is allowable.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Varga?
as we get our budget, it would be nice to be able to hold some of our meetings, not all of them, the Ways and Means budget meetings through August, some virtually that we used to take to communities. Those were really, really successful, and we had community participation. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure that we will be able to do that in real time at real locations. So I'm not sure if there are any exemptions that we could possibly move up the chain to the governor to say that in those predicaments, in those situations where we want the community to be extra involved and have their participation, if they would allow some of that to happen. It was just a thought that I had. Then each individual commissioner could actually invite their own constituents to the meetings that we are going to be having on the budget. So it's just a thought. So I just wanted to put it out there early, just in case we do have some discussion with the governor on those type of meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. The budget meetings that we have in the community are actually part of our rules. If the Open Meeting Act is extended to meet virtually, then it'll be a great idea. I think we'll get more participation if we have our budget meetings via Zoom, because more people can call in or Zoom in. So right. I look forward to us. The probability of that happening is probably great, that we'll be having our budget hearings, or at least some of them. And then, of course, just because she says we can have them virtually doesn't mean we have to have them virtually. So at some right. point, there may be a time where we have to have a budget hearing at the Guardian building and the chambers, but at least it gives us the flexibility to have some of them via Zoom and some of them in person. So yes, that would be great.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other commissioners under remarks by members? I don't see any other hands.
Madam
Does anyone
Chair,
want-
I just have a quick comment to honor my colleague Joey Palomera and Tim Johnson who are picking on me for wearing Michigan blue color. I switched to reflect their color, but this is the color of Allen Park.
Thank
I
you,
think,
Commissioner.
Madam the Chair, I think it's a
Yes.
bad idea to change color every minute to please somebody else. Sam, it's not you.
Say be
Stick with-
consistent, huh, Commissioner?
the blue.
Yes.
Let it be
Thank-
known that he is not a chameleon.
Green is a good color. Green is a very good color.
We're all
Yes, it is.
Michigan.
Hang in there,
We're all
Joey.
Michigan.
Yes.
We
Thank
are.
you, Commissioner. Any remarks by members? Any further remarks by members? Hearing none, remember that at 12 o'clock, the Jail Force Task Force meeting will take place, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
Support
All
by
right.
everybody.
Thank you so much. Well, meeting adjourned. Thank you all. Take care.